The Nigerian state is currently in a state of turmoil with the dwindling state of the economy, impending fuel price hike, incessant kidnappings and banditry, abductions of critics by the state security apparatus, as well as the obfuscation of the civil space in Nigeria. The question is the country gradually descending to the abyss of disintegration? Welcome to Sahara TV's State of the Nation with Martin Onovo, former presidential candidate for the National Conscience Party and the head policy of the Movement for Fundamental Change. It's a pleasure having you on Sahara TV.
Thank you very much.
On February 25, 2019, General Muhammadu Buhari retired, won re-election as Nigeria's president with a promise to revive the economy, fight corruption, and end insecurity problems. 2 years after, as a Nigerian, what in your honest and unbiased view has changed?
Well, the first thing is, did he win the election? I do not think he won any election. I think he imposed himself on us. I think the facts are very clear. That's one. Two, about the declared objectives of security, anti-corruption, and the economy. We can show scientifically to even the most imbecilic individual that this is the worst government Nigeria has ever had. And let's take them one by one. Let's take corruption. This is the most corrupt government ever. And don't accept it because I have said it. Look at the indices. And I'll give you three clear indices. We just scored 149 in Transparency International's Corruption Perception Index. That is the worst rating for Nigeria ever. Nigeria has never scored 149 before. It was still under this government that we had the most damning official Auditor General's audit report. If you look at the Auditor General's audit report for 2019, there is no way General Buhari can remain in office. There's no way. It's the most damning ever. And that's an official report by the government itself. If you look at the size of corruption scandals, the $25 billion NMPC contract scam is the biggest contract scam in Africa ever. So the indices are very clear. And the results we have seen is very clear. Let us remain scientific, because this government is all about propaganda. But propaganda is not science. And the particular propaganda of this government is absurd. Completely absurd. Like the latest statement of the government about insecurity and kidnap of children. Say children also get kidnapped in developed countries. In other words. In other words. So the propaganda of this particular government is completely illogical, senseless. So with regards to corruption, the final result is that using official appropriation arithmetic, General Buhari has spent about 41 trillion naira of public funds since he became president. Official appropriation figures. And there is nothing significant to show for 41 trillion. There is no new refinery. There is no new power station. 41 trillion has vanished. And there is nothing concrete. And if you know something that's concrete, please let me know. There is nothing concrete for the 41 trillion. Go and look at the official Sukuk projects. Sukuk. The projects funded from the Sukuk funds. Go and look at those official projects. Some of those projects are going at over 5 billion per kilometer. I want Raji Fashola, SAN, to explain how he does roads at above 5 billion naira per kilometer. These are official numbers. Just look at projects funded by Sukuk. Look at the road projects. Look at the project figure. Look at the mileage, the length of the roads. Just do the arithmetic. Now, the African Development Bank funds projects, road projects in Africa on an average cost of about $150,000 per kilometer. Convert that. That's about 60 million naira. That's about 60 million naira per kilometer. But this government is publishing to the whole world that it is doing some roads at over 5 billion per kilometer. So when you want to talk about corruption, corruption is not a suitable word for what is going on here. We just have to find another word. Let us go to security. Or maybe we should leave that last because that's the most.
Exactly.
Let's talk about the economy very, very briefly so we can dwell on security.
Considering the weak economy that we have, the dwindling state of the economy that we have, yet we continue to hear the propaganda reports that the economy is headed in the right direction. Based on a recent statement credited to the United Nations Deputy Secretary General. I mean, and then we also had the Minister of Finance that Nigeria has actually headed out of recession. And Nigerians are really to trust this government with all this.
Well, you can't because that's why I say that the propaganda of the government is completely absurd. Let us look at the 5 universal criteria for macroeconomic assessments. Let us look at GDP. Let us look at public debt. Let us look at the value of the naira. Let us look at unemployment. Let us look at inflation. Let us not mention poverty because this is the global capital of extreme poverty. And we were not like this until Buhari took over power. We were not the global capital for extreme poverty until Buhari came to power. So Buhari, his government, is responsible directly for driving the fastest growing economy in the sub-region, driving it to extreme poverty. GDP, official figures. You have been in 2 recessions in quotes. No, because they are not recessions. But I'm using recession so that people will know what I'm referring to. This is not, we didn't just come out of a recession. The country is in a depression, economic depression. That is the right technical definition of the situation of the Nigerian economy. It's a depression. Calling it a recession is part of the rhetorics of the absurd propaganda that I talked about. Senseless propaganda. Propaganda directly at the face of the facts, contradicting the facts. This is a depression. What is a recession? A recession is that you have a decline of your GDP in 2 quarters. That's a recession. Simple. 2 quarters of GDP decline, that's a recession. What has happened in the Nigerian economy cannot be correctly called professionally a recession. And there's a professional correct term for it. It's a depression. Because it goes beyond decline of GDP. It goes to hyperinflation. It goes to highest level, unprecedented level of unemployment. It goes to an unprecedented level of debt. Already the country is in a debt trap. And the next stage is a debt crisis. And we're almost surely there. Unless something miraculous happens.
Away from the economy.
Yes.
And with Nigeria's economy in crisis, kidnapping has become a major growth industry. With mass kidnappings of girls and boys at boarding schools in northwest and in the northern part of Nigeria happening at an average of every 3 weeks now, based on the facts and figures we have. Has insecurity come to stay in Nigeria?
Insecurity cannot come to stay. Insecurity has come to stay with the present government. And the present government cannot last forever. It will not last forever. So insecurity has not come to stay, unless you're talking about come to stay in the short term. Once you have a good government, these things will stop. And right now, we have a confession that the media has not given appropriate attention. Kawu Baraje Alhaji was a leading chieftain of the APC, and he has confessed that they imported the foreign mercenaries who have become bandits. He has confessed. How much more evidence do you need? He has confessed that they imported them for the elections. This is public. Why is the media not following up? Why are we not asking for accountability? So it seems very clear to me and to so many others. If you're in the public space, you hear people talking and pointing fingers. The ruling party is the direct sponsor of terrorism and insecurity in Nigeria. My name is Martin Onovo. I said it. APC is the direct sponsor of insecurity and terrorism in Nigeria. Ask me for the evidence.
What are the facts?
Good. I just gave you confession of Kawu Baraje.
Thank you.
That's number one. Number two, Miyetti Allah made a public statement that if you want peace in your state, don't call any meeting. Provide land for Fulanis in your state. Public statement. Miyetti Allah. Miyetti Allah is a collaborator with the ruling party. We had a report that the ruling party funded Miyetti Allah to the tune of 100 billion. I wasn't there when the payment was made, but that's in the public domain. We had an official report that the government of Nigeria was going to establish a radio station in collaboration with Miyetti Allah, where Fufude, the Fulani tribal dialect, will be the language of communication. Now, interestingly, you asked me for facts. We have it on the authority of the Ondo State government that the PRO of Miyetti Allah in Ondo State led the criminal suspect gang that killed Parafa Shoranti's daughter. That is on the authority of the Ondo State government. And they have been arrested. And the leader of the gang is the PRO of Miyetti Allah in Ondo State. We have it on the authority of the Nigerian police that a headsman was arrested with a military rifle in Plateau State. I have the number of the rifle. I can send it to you by SMS. I just need to check my records. I have the rifle number. We have it on the authority of retired Colonel Nyam that the Fulani headsmen repelled in Ogoja were using Nigerian army rifles from the barracks in that vicinity, and that the soldiers came to collect the rifles back. Now, who is the commander-in-chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces? Who should be responsible for the activities of these armed forces? We have it on the authority of General Danjuma. Danjuma has commanded these forces. We have it on the authority of General Danjuma. that the armed forces are conniving with the bandits that are killing citizens. How much more evidence do you want? How much more evidence? We have hard physical evidence. We have testimonies from relevant authorities. How much more evidence do you want to know that the ruling party in Nigeria, the APC, is the sponsor of insecurity and terrorism? How much more evidence? I don't need any more evidence. I am 1,000% convinced, and nobody has contrary evidence. The APC, the ruling party in Nigeria, is the direct sponsor of terrorism and insecurity in Nigeria.
That is damning. For the fact that the Nigerian government sponsored terrorism has finally been institutionalized under this Buhari's regime.
I forgot one point. The trial in Dubai. The trial in Dubai, where some Nigerians were convicted for terrorism financing in Nigeria. The published report said that they were traced to people high up in government. So how much more evidence do we need? All the evidence is out there. But as a people, because materialism and corruption has weakened us as a people, we are not able to stand up for anything. Money is stronger than truth. Any community where money is stronger than truth is ruined. Truth is the foundation. Any environment, even if it's a family, or a village, or an organization, where money is stronger than truth, that family or village is ruined. And in Nigeria, money is stronger than the truth. And that is the brink where we have brought ourselves. Because this is not an act of God. We deliberately walked ourselves to this abyss.
That's serious. The Arewa elders, a couple of days back, said that Buhari doesn't understand the magnitude of insecurity in the north. While the Senate President Ahmed Lawan yesterday expressed regret at what banditry is fast becoming in Nigeria, describing the situations as unacceptable, and that quite a number of people are benefiting from the situation. What's your take on this?
Well, if the media continues to give credit to comments made by direct suspects, members of the ruling party, well, I will not be part of that. I will not be part of that.
Several army operations have also been launched with regards to fighting insecurity in the country, as a matter of fact. And most of these operations have proved ineffective, as a matter of fact. Why is that?
Well, if you believe Gumi, and I believe him, Sheikh Gumi, if you believe him, I believe him. If you believe him, he's deliberate. He says the security forces know exactly where the bandits are. This is on the authority of Gumi. And you cannot say he's wrong, because he went and met with them. When he was asked on TV, how is it that you know where the bandits are and the security forces don't know? He said the security forces know exactly where they are and where all their camps are. So is that not additional evidence that the ruling party is the sponsor of terrorism and insecurity in Nigeria?
How does the country get out of this conundrum at this point in time? The public matters Onovo.
Get rid of the commander-in-chief, and there are constitutional means. We have said Buhari must go. We said that how many years ago? Buhari needs to go. Buhari is the leader of this ruling party. Buhari is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces that are conniving. Buhari needs to leave. Buhari should have left office 5 years ago. Nigerians are directly responsible by continuing to tolerate Buhari in office. We have rejected Buhari 5 years ago. We have called on Nigerians to reject Buhari. If they continue delaying and waiting to 2003, God help them to get to 2003. God help them to get to 2003. A dead man does not get to 2003.
That's serious.
Fashion daughter is dead. Go and wake her up first. You go and wake her up. All these people waiting for 2003. When they die, they will see 2003 in their grave.
So are you of the view that this country might not survive to 2023?
I think it's clear. If fringe organizations can enforce a food blockade against the South.
Exactly, that's where we're
fringe organizations, and the government folds its hands, and you think the country is going to survive? I'll ask you next year. Buhari needs to resign today. He should have been impeached 5 years ago, but it's better late than never.
Earlier on, you talked about constitutional means to get rid of the president.
There are several now.
But
resignation is an option. Impeachment is an option. Medical incapacitation is an option.
Do you
a man who goes to hospital for 104 days and is not able to perform the duty?
Does the president
is he not medically incapacitated? It depends on your own interpretation. There are several means.
Now, does the president, the current legislative arm of government, has the will to actually do that?
What do you mean? Do they represent their children there? They represent us. They're representing you and I. They're representing Nigeria. They will have to do what we ask them to do.
But do you trust this National Assembly to actually?
I don't trust them, but we can compel them.
And how do Nigerians do that?
Oh, it's very simple now. What do you mean? It's very simple. What do you mean? How did we get rid of Patricia? The fact is that we want a developed country, but we don't want to work for its development. I remember a particular extract from a speech made by the Australian president. How Australia was built by sweat, blood, and steel. That is how you develop a place. This lazing about, celebrating mediocrity, collecting a slush fund does not build societies. And I tell you, the majority of Nigerians are involved. Journalists with their brown envelopes, police, lawyers, politicians like myself, too many people are involved. And that is why we're where we are. And remember what I said. When money becomes stronger than truth, a society is ruined. The foundation of a society is on morality. Even the law is built on morality. Even the law is built on morality. The foundation of a society is on morality. So this idea of pecuniary interest, vested interest, personal advantage, the old British rules of conduct for public officers forbids using your position to advance your personal interest. So why do you think they had that wisdom? And you lost your position if it was shown that you had abused it in favor of your personal interest. It is in the oath of the President of Nigeria. Go and look at the oath of allegiance. I have personal interest, you have personal interest. Okay. When you hold public office, and that's what you call conflict of interest, you don't allow your interest to conflict with your public responsibility. That's the meaning of conflict of interest.
Comrade Onovo, let me circle back a bit with regards to the issue of the food blockage, for example, and the multiplier effect is already having, especially with the prices of food, commodities going up, especially in the South.
Everybody is a loser. Even the northern farmers are losers.
Now
they are losing their perishables.
They have been called for
invested to farm. We are not buying. Inflation, food inflation has hit us. They are not selling. They are losing their capacity to continue to farm. It's a direct attack on the economy. But with a president that does not have WAEC, he will not understand the consequences.
That's serious. Finally, there have been called for restructuring of the country in itself.
The country needs to be restructured immediately.
What kind of restructuring are we talking about?
6 zones, 6 constitutions. Very simple. The details can easily be worked out. 6 zones, 6 constitutions, and the Federation Constitution. The details can be worked out. What are the details? The exact details of devolution of powers. And we're not starting from 0 point. We can start from the foundational independence constitution that was negotiated at the Lancaster Conference in London. That was the independence constitution of Nigeria, the foundational 1960 constitution. We can start with that. We can start with that. Do that now, and you will bring back the old competition that you had with the regions. And then the diversification of the economy that we have been paying lip service to in the last 40 years will naturally occur, because the zones will develop their economies using their competitive advantages. And it has happened before, so I'm not giving an academic theory. It had happened when the West, Southwest, was promoting its cocoa export. The Southeast was promoting its palm oil export, and the Northern region was promoting its groundnut pyramids. So it has happened before. We'll just go back to that. But you see, with the national cake mentality of every Nigerian, share, give me my share. Nobody bakes the national cake. No. But everybody wants to eat and get a lion's share. So the competition today is in how much share I get, not in how much I contribute. So you take that away. You take that away. You don't bring all the VAT from Lagos and Anambra State, and then you pay it to Kano State, a larger proportion to Kano State that is destroying, crushing the brewery industry and destroying the beer, which is the source of the VAT on beer. It doesn't make sense. Nobody is saying they must drink beer in Kano. If they don't want to drink beer, okay, they should not worry about the VAT from beer. If in Enugu people say it's the VAT from beer that is going to be their life, let them drink it and benefit from the VAT. It's that simple. But this federation account, national cake mentality is at the root of the lack of productivity in Nigeria. Because I can contribute nothing to production, and then I get maximum from sharing because I have a political advantage.
Comrade Onovo, times well spent. Earlier on, circling back to where we began, we started this interview. We asked the question, is Nigeria on a sojourn to an abyss of disintegration? What could be done or should be done at this point in time to prevent that?
Well, I can tell you that if General Buhari announces resignation today, properly worked out, tension will come down immediately. I can tell you that even if the same General Buhari, as incompetent, according to Aisha Yesufu, and as inept and clueless as he is, according to Aisha Yesufu, if he announces a restructuring agenda and sets in motion the process, the tension will come down. If he does not, those helicopter gunships in Olu will be brought down. Yes, the people are going to mobilize and defend themselves. The Nigerian people will mobilize and defend themselves. And don't forget, Danjuma told us 3 years ago to defend ourselves. Now the Minister of Defense told us to defend ourselves. We agree with Danjuma, we agree with the Minister of Defense. We will mobilize and defend ourselves. And we will neutralize those armored tanks and we will bring down the helicopter gunships. Believe it or not.
Comrade Onovo, thank you very much for being on the program.
Thank you.